Class is in session, this is the show where knowledge is profit, just so you know. Army Piper, OC Guy, and Trade Fly, bringing crypto news to the whole alumni. It's the word on the market, the one-stop shop for the info you need every time that it drops. The go-to show that you need right now. This is Piper Academy, it's all going down, let's go.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Morning Market Report here on Piper Academy. We got a great show lined up today, looking at some critical data that's happening this week. CPI, PPI, what does that mean for the markets? What will that mean for the economy? And is it possible Jerome Powell can divert a soft landing approach causing no recession? Let's see if he can do that. We are looking at the markets on the upside today, all markets, crypto, gold, silver, stock markets, all looking pretty decent. We're going to be diving into all of it. Stick around. Let's get it, guys. Class is in session. Good morning and welcome to the most bearish morning market report out there, guys. I'm RB Piper. I've been a little bit bearish, but I will tell you, there are some things that could happen, but they have to happen in a very specific way. We're going to talk about those today that could cause us to have another chance at another market rally. But as of right now, we're still stuck under critical levels. Bitcoin just over 55K. Ethereum stuck around $2,300. So even though we got a green on the daily here, we're still down for the week. By the way, we're 1 week into September. Told you guys it was going to be red. That's been the narrative. Ethereum down 8.3% on the weekly. Bitcoin down 5.2 on the weekly. Solana holding much better than the blue chips right now. So down about 2.3% there. So that is what we're seeing on this, guys. Let's go ahead and let's bring up my co-host because I got the man, the myth, the legend, OC Guy here. What's up, bro? How you doing, man?
I'm doing fantastic. A great Monday. I'm looking at a couple of things. By the way, I did look at the data that you showed me. What was it, on Friday? I know you told me, call me back, but I didn't. I got entangled with other things of work. But man, that thing is bearish. Guys, if you haven't watched that episode, I highly recommend you go watch it.
I think most of them have watched it at this point. And they're wondering where is bullish Piper at? Can we have him back? I have a little hopium. There's a little light shine in my heart that we call hopium, and there is a possibility. But I'm going to lay it out for you what really needs to happen. As a matter of fact, tomorrow night, because I see Amy Lives Crypto right there in the chat. Tomorrow night, Amy Lives Crypto is going to be on Billy Goat Tales, and she's going to be taking the first hour because then she's got parent things to do. Life happens, right? So she's got to go get her little one in bed and all that stuff. However, we're going to be coming in right behind her, Crux and I, and we're going to be talking about the current economic picture, what the possible scenarios are for the markets, and why people need to have a reality check. And I'll give you a little foresight on it. I love Bitcoin just as much as the next guy, sometimes more than the next guy, right? But it's still an asset class. Is it the best asset class out there? Absolutely. But it's still an asset class. And at the end of the day, you have to expect that market effects, economic effects that affect all market assets are still going to affect Bitcoin. Now, on average, Bitcoin does rally 30%. Well, it has a 30% gain per year if you take all of them and average them out. All right, it's about 30% a year. So still the best asset class out there. But when you have the potential of 30 to 50% stock market pullbacks, that means crypto bear. That means crypto winter, and is how that translates. So, and people need to understand that. So, it's still an asset class. Is it the best asset class? Absolutely. Is it an asset class though? Nonetheless, absolutely also. So we're going to be talking about some stuff like that tomorrow on Billy Goat Tales right after Amy Lives Crypto. So make sure you guys tune in over there. It's going to be pretty good. OC, did you see anything this weekend? We talked about downside sell this weekend, which it did. It did on Friday. But for the most part, the weekend was meh, it was kind of static and sideways. If you're looking at a 15-minute chart, sure, it had a little pump in it, but overall, we're going to see it on the chart here in a minute. Not really. We got some key levels we got to get above this week on this data. That's for sure. That's why I said this is a critical week on the thumbnail. But are you seeing anything this weekend that made you go, maybe, or yep, there it is. What do you think this weekend?
Well, I did hold on my cells. I did not sell anything, to be honest. And this is because I mean, you heard the tone of my voice when we were talking about it, right? I was a little bit pushing backwards, or I mean, like, is this for real? I mean, let me do my own reality check, right? And guys, I mean, this happens, right? When you got new data and you were not prepared for it, you do need to fall back and replan for what you're looking at. But here's the thing: I changed nothing. That is a non-position. It is a position sometimes, right? You have mentioned that several times. I have a whack of possible charting here that I'm going to be waiting for it to play it out or to push out. If we can share very quick my chart, I'm going to just show it before we wrap it here. So we have a little range V-shaped recovery that gives us 70% of ranging. And then I was talking about this with Alex on crypto on the classes. And this is what I'm going to be showing today, whether we're breaking through on a Wyckoff pattern or we're going for the spring. And we're back, baby, back at the range. We're going to be looking at that. At this point, I still need to see a break to the dynamic reactor. And that's what I'm waiting throughout this week. And as you mentioned, we are on critical areas of support. And yeah, I do agree with it.
Awesome. Let's go ahead and jump into the news. Then we're going to get this up because I got some stuff I want to show too. Got a chart that I showed Crux yesterday. I meant to show it yesterday on the Sunday Gen Wealth. If you guys have not checked that out yet, make sure you do. It's Gen Wealth with my son and I at little podcast video podcast. I don't know what you call it. I guess podcasts used to be audio and then they became this video thing. You know what I'm saying. So guys, go check that one out though. I got some good breakdown, but I'm gonna be breaking down what I saw, what I showed Crux on the charts. It's pretty interesting. So you're gonna want to stick around for that. Let's go ahead though and jump over into the news, guys. Today's news brought to you by decrypted.tax right there. If you're our trusted tax official, if you guys got tax questions, if you guys are taking profits or you're wanting to know, should I take profits? What will happen right now? Well, I wouldn't do it now, but if you have already, he can answer your questions. Decrypted.tax. Call Ernest. Let him know the Academy sent you. Looking here, guys, at the total market cap, we are just back above 2 trillion. There's Crux's nice little threshold, up 1.43%. The fear and greed index is sitting at 26. We are sitting in fear. Yesterday was at 29. Last week, 26. So we're continuing this fear trend here. We did have a nice volume increase of about 50.7% in the past 24 hours. So good little volume pump. A lot of people moving back in. Just enough, in my opinion, to get some people wrecked if one little piece of bad data comes out. And then Bitcoin dominance, we're sitting at 53.6%, carrying our way back up to 54% there on that data. Looking at the crypto bubbles on the daily, guys, everything pretty much green except for Flare, Litecoin, Ordi, Sats, Starknet, and Sui. Shout out to Eric Wallen. He's like, my Sui's pumping. I said, until it doesn't, and then it's chop Sui. And he got a good giggle out of that. So there you go. Let's go down here and take a look at Bitcoin. Sitting, like I said, just 55.5. This is somewhere around that point. That was a major entry level for Alex O Crypto. He had 55.555 for a long trade that he rode up, and then he got into a short and rode it back down. So shout out to him. But that's right back in that line again too. So another level of resistance in play right now, right above us at 555. Call me. Ethereum, $2,300. You can see right here, up 1.4%. Bitcoin up 2.1% on the daily. Past hour, continuing to push to the upside on both of them. BNB up 1.2%. I want you guys to pay attention over here to this weekly, though. Let's get that in there so we can talk about that, because Bitcoin's down 4.8%. Ethereum's down 8%. BNB, Solana, 2%. XRP's down 4.2%. Tron 1.6. Like overall, the alts did much better than Bitcoin and Ethereum over the past week. So a little odd there. I think that might be because so many people got into their altcoins and rode that big rocket up. So there's still a lot in profit, but they've been taking other money and dollar cost averages, so that maybe their average is a little higher on Bitcoin and Ethereum. Not sure, but absolutely did not get sold off as much as Bitcoin and Ethereum this weekend. Let's see here. Anything top 22 or top 20? Caspa's up 2.9%, only down 3.5 for the weekly. No big changes here. Toncoin moved back into the top 10, and Cardano sliding down to number 11. But look at ADA. Look at Cardano, guys. Green on the weekly. Green on the weekly, not sitting in that red at all. So let's jump into liquidation, see what we're seeing here. Past 24 hours, guys, there's been 29,103 traders liquidated. The total liquidations coming in at about $104.2 million. Total largest single liquidation in the past 24 hours was Bitcoin on OKX for $11 million. So shout out to you for donating liquidity. Let's see here. I got to go into bookmarks because I want to show you something over here. It's the big items this week. Yep, I got some Caspa news. I'm going to be talking about that in a minute too. Here's our key events this week, guys. Tuesday, that's going to have to do with oil. Why does oil matter? Because if oil's going down, if oil prices continue down, that usually can indicate that there is a global economic contraction. People don't need energy as much, manufacturing slowing down, production slowing down, so on and so forth. It's a contraction indicator. So that is going to be on Tuesday. August, we're going to get CPI inflation data on Wednesday, or August CPI inflation data on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, we're going to get those initial jobless claims, how many people filed for unemployment this week. Thursday, we're going to get the producer price inflation, which is going to be that data. It's actually PPI inflation data. That's producer price inflation there. You don't need that word in there, but that's on Thursday. And then continuing jobless claims, how many people are continuing to file for unemployment coming out on Thursday also. Let's go ahead and jump into the economic calendar just to show you what numbers we're expecting here. Looking at, we'll go to Wednesday. We got the API crude stock oil change. That's Tuesday. I don't really think it's that big of a deal, but it will be interesting to see what it comes in at. Core inflation rate month over month. That's going to be at 6:30 a.m. my time. That is 8:30 a.m. on the East Coast. This is an hour before the market opens. As of right now, previously 0.2%. They're actually predicting on the consensus that it is the neutral, but on the forecast, it will be up 0.1% there. So that's what we're seeing on that. Core inflation rate year over year, 3.2%. Consensus and forecast is that it will be neutral. Here's the big one though. Inflation rate year over year, currently at 2.9. They're actually predicting, and this is being cooked into the markets, guys. I hate when we get these inflation rates that are much better, because 2.6, 2.7, I mean, that could be considered 0.3% for year over year coming down, being much better, right? The markets cook that in, and that becomes the foundation, right? And then when this doesn't match up, even if it beats 2.8, maybe 2.9, maybe it comes in at 2.8, but it wasn't as good as they thought it would be, then there's a readjustment in the markets. And, we see that a lot. So, but all that data, Wednesday, going to be the big day for that CPI data coming in. And then Thursday, PPI. And this is your producer price inflation. So you see there, producer price inflation month over month. We're going to be getting that data along with that core PPI, and then there's initial jobless claims. So all that data coming in Wednesday, Thursday, both very important before next week's meeting on September 18th, which, by the way, let me refresh this, see how this is looking. That's going to be next week, September 18th. Currently, right now, we're looking at a 27% chance of 50 basis points, a 73% chance of 25 basis points. And then we're going to come back. We're going to talk about that. So I want you guys to understand why it's important this week that CPI and PPI. I almost want to do like a thumbnail of like Princess Leia, in front of R2D2 saying you're our only hope, right? Pushing the button, little glowing. You guys remember that Star Wars? I'm not that old, right? That's Jerome Powell right now. It's really on this PPI and CPI. This is what needs to happen in my mind. PPI and CPI need to play out healthy. meaning, hey, look, things are going good. Inflation's not that high. It came down. CPI, not bad. We're on the right track. Glide path is clean, right? I can see to the horizon down these trails. Because if they're not, and it causes Jerome Powell, it's all pressure factors left and right to keep the target hit, right? And we want the target to get hit center mass by Jerome Powell next week on the FOMC. Because if we get 50 basis points next week, because of any of this data coming out now, if any of this data causes 50 basis points next week, then we have an issue where the investment world, the sentiment will be that this is an emergency. They cut a lot. If we get 25 basis points and they say we're going to do 25, 25, 25, 25 every month, then that leads us into the idea that, okay, this is going to be a soft landing. Anything other than a soft landing is absolutely going to lead to a doomsday scenario of recession. Just it's how it is. We have got to have a soft landing, and it has to be the first time ever that the uninverting of the 2 and 10 year do not lead to a recession. Do I think that we're still going to get a recession out of all of this because it always does take effect eventually? Yes. But if we get a soft landing, it pushes the recession out to mid 2025. And that's what I want to show you guys for what I'm seeing on the charts today. So, the OC, thoughts on that? And shout out to Wick. He said, Star Wars. Oh, you mean those old timey movies? Yeah. Yeah. Back in the day when we used to ride horses to school. What's your thoughts on this economic data? Are we going to see that that just this week? How is Jerome Powell going to react if we do get bad data? I'd love to hear your thoughts on all of it. You're muted. You're muted.
Thank you for that. First of all, I want to say that you are right on line with what I usually think about this, right? I mean, let me bring back once again December and January, where we were just at the edge of calling a recession, right? And we never did. I don't think we're gonna do it at this part of the history. Why? Because the other part of the world, the other half of the world that is also pushing, right? So that will be declaring that we are weak. This part of the world, at least America, it's weak, right? It's going to be showing weakness, economical weakness. And I don't think that is something that will play it out. So a soft landing might be a done deal. Just like before that we had a soft landing and nobody noticed, but then you also can see, I mean, right here in Mexico, we saw the reflection of increment of twice the amount of money for a car, right? So it went, 50% up or 100% up, right, on cars. So I think it's going to play out the same thing. They're going to keep things under control. We are going to be seeing the price increase on food and electricity and other goods, but I don't think it's going to ever be put out to the public. And they're going to do everything they can just to manage the disaster.
Absolutely. I want to clarify something for Clay the Great. He goes, I feel like we've been in a recession since they changed the definition. There's a difference between a recession and an inflationary economy. In inflationary economy, everything is just really expensive, and you start to see weakening of the market growth, okay, the economic growth. That is what we saw with the 2 GDPs in a row, and experiencing the inflation cost, the expenses on everything. That's not a recession. A recession usually happens after the Federal Reserve does everything that they have to do to combat that inflation, and then it causes more job losses because they held the rates too long. Corporations went into financial hardship because they couldn't borrow money. It cut down their liquidity. They're slowing down the growth rate that they had of buying, which was the demand, which caused inflation, right? And so they have to start taking people off of jobs. That's why it's important for the Federal Reserve to not wait too long. And I feel like they should have been cutting back in June or July in order to avoid what's coming now, because they hurt so much. They hurt the company so much that it is hurting the labor force now, and we're starting to see that weakening at the same time as you've got that contracting earnings of the companies and stuff like that. So a little bit different between an economic contraction or an economic tightening versus what we're an inflationary tightening versus what we're seeing with a recession. It's a little bit different. Crypto AI food disappears from store shelves. Yeah, there was those times. I don't know that we would see food disappear from shelves. I think that you would see a lot more people filing for benefits because the job contraction is going to happen. Trust me, when these companies start not getting their loan money that's already massively default. I showed that yesterday on the show. When these companies don't start getting foreclosures on homes because people are behind on loans and behind on credit cards and don't have any personal savings, so they took out a mortgage, an equity mortgage on their home that because it had low interest rate, and then now they took on a higher interest rate, and then the trickle effect, right? That's going to lead to their homes getting foreclosed on. You take out an equity loan on your home and you don't pay that, it's the same thing as not paying your mortgage. So, but yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit of a different picture than what we have seen going into this point so far. That's not necessarily recessionary. Does it hurt? Yeah, it hurts the same way as a recession hurts, but recessions have some different symptoms that do not currently exist. So I just wanted to clarify that. Uh, Lunar Beaches Crypto said, for comparison, we were losing 800,000 jobs a month in 2008. Exactly. Guys, that's a recession when massive labor market layoffs start happening. We've started to see it in tech. We haven't seen it trickle out yet. That's why I'm thinking if we get a soft landing, we're good until late 2025, late summer, early fall 2025, and which actually lines up with the bull market. So, but we have to get that soft landing. I just wanted to put that out there. All right, OC, let's jump over into an article. I got a happy feel good article for you guys. Look, not a bear all the time. Okay, I got a little happy feel good article for you here. El Salvador taxi cab driver used Bitcoin to become an entrepreneur. This is why we have Bitcoin. Guys, I know I talk all the time about hey, this recession's coming, and it's still going to apply to crypto, right? But at the end of the day, this is why Bitcoin matters. This is why it's the best asset out there. This guy in El Salvador claims Bitcoin price rises helped him build a Bitcoin-powered car rental and taxi company. Let's go down and check it out. El Salvador taxi cab driver used Bitcoin to help him create a car rental company and spread awareness of the coin's credential as a payment tool. Napoleon Osorio, 39, used Bitcoin adoption to go from unemployment to running his own firm in just 3 years. He says this business owner has also become something of a Bitcoin evangelist in the first nation to grant Bitcoin legal tender status. He claims that his firm is the first taxi company to accept Bitcoin in El Salvador, and also claims that his Bitcoin success means he no longer struggles to pay for his teenage children's education. Founder is since affiliated with My First Bitcoin, known as Me Primer. The journey appears to have taken him to high places. Osorio recently updated his Instagram account with an image showing him sitting in the Salvadorian presidential office. So, shout out to this guy. He said, we taught 35,000 students about Bitcoin, learn how we plan to reach 100,000. And there's a whole video there on it. It's pretty cool. Seems like a little bit of a marketing tool there for that service also. But Osorio, grew enough money to start a business. He went from unemployed to having a entrepreneurship of his own business, and that is the power of Bitcoin. So, you got any stories like that down there in Mexico, OC? I mean, you live down there in that neck of the woods. I know Central America, South America, different. I know. Got that whole Panama thing in there. But have you seen anything like this, like down in Mexico, where someone comes, very low income country, very low average pay in country, got their hands on a little bit of Bitcoin and it turned into something bigger and something bigger? Have you seen anything like that down there? You're muted. It's the key phrase, catchphrase. You're muted. There you go. It's like an 80s show. Go for it.
Oh shit. Yeah, I mean, I think more so when you are in a crypto environment, right? I've noticed many times when like a bright mind gets its chance in life, right? and in this case has been Bitcoin, and then start investing, becoming from almost night to day, start making a good amount of profits, right? So they discover that they're doing great either at investing, reinvesting, or commerce, or being a commerce, right? Buying and selling stuff, so trading. And yeah, I mean, we have had a ton of those stories, especially, and I want to call out on Cosmo, a couple of my friends being good traders there, that they had life-changing experiences because of this new opportunity that comes in lives. I've heard before, I don't quite remember if I was on a book that I read, that there's three major opportunities in life. You just need to be aware of them and catch them. So you have three chances of becoming a billionaire throughout your lifetime, in average. So, guys, if you are in your mid 30s, you have nothing to waste and go hunt for it. I mean, you still
I
have a
wish.
chance.
I wish I was in my mid 30s. All right. Let's check out Bitcoin. Let's go look at this. I want to talk about Bitcoin. I want to show you guys a couple of things. I'm going to do a quick snapshot on Bitcoin. I'm going to come to OC. He's going to give his quick snapshot. Then I'm going to come back and show you some historical data that could be indication of this is our ray of sunshine for the day. So let's jump over here and check out the chart, guys. Look in here. You guys see this little box right there that I got going on? Let me get to the brush. This one right here. You guys see that? What do you think that is, OC? You think that's a little support range there, a little range zone? What do you think it is?
Seems like an order block or a liquidity zone, but
Nope.
absolutely seems like a
That
big
is our
support.
Friday close, guys. This is the CME gap currently on the chart.
Oh.
So watch for us to get a rejection on the 618 to come back and close that gap. That is one of the things I'm watching this morning that you guys probably didn't even think about. Most people don't. It's right there. That is the CME gap that we need to come back down to. So I'm actually watching for us to get a rejection on the 618 to come right back down. If we might get a little bit above it here, there is a really keen level of support, of resistance right here about 57. But yeah, I'm watching for that to happen. We do have a CME gap that typically does get closed. We did print a bullish divergence. We did get the uptrend. We did get notification that, hey, we're running out of downward power, and now we're starting to get that green hike and icy candle. So I do expect that this could come up, get rejected, come back down here, double bottom, and then come up. But I am watching that closely. I do think that we will come back, close that CME gap this week sometime. That's what I'm seeing on there. Guys, we are pushing back up on the 887. We did close the weekly below it. First time ever here. Excuse me. First time that we've gotten that here, going all the way back to February of this year. So we are below that, but right now we're coming up to, is this going to be another key level of resistance before we head down? I do have a lot of my order entries back in at around $49,000 to $48,000 Bitcoin, just so you know. Still holding half a Bitcoin, still holding like 30 Ethereum, more than that, enough to run a validator node. But all of my other alts, I'm out of those. When Bitcoin gets down to 48, 49, I will start to go back into Bitcoin, hold the rest of my Bitcoin until I see a market reversal confirmation. Then I will divvy it out to the altcoins. I don't need to make all of the run. A lot of it working there for me already. So I'm looking here on Gaussian channel, guys. Bitcoin Gaussian channel. We did come down, almost touched perfectly on the wick here for the weekly candle close yesterday also. And yeah, that's it. I'm going to kick it over to UOC so you can show us what you're seeing, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about this historical data and why it matters and why it makes me think that we have until late next summer still. Let's go over to your
Absolutely.
chart there.
So I was looking at, absolutely. I'm just checking that I'm not muted here. So at this point, I was looking at Friday's possible dump and pump as we were either breaking the top of the bottom of this very exaggerated range downwards. And what happened, we have that little fake out and then a recuperation. Let's go back to Bitcoin, another chart so you can guys see what I was expecting. This was the previous trend line that I was looking at for being broken, along with the channel that we were looking at. And I had a calculation somewhere around here. Why? Because we had there a big order block along with a with sorry, a liquidity zone there, right? Already we have restructured what we have in here, and seems that we're going to impact into a loud order block, which, as Piper was mentioning, we could be rejecting out of this. Although I believe that we could be making a little bit more pressure just to wait for the dynamic reactor to come down back down, have the flip of the ribbon, and then coming back down in here for a retest of this liquidity area, this brand new liquidity area, and possibly continuation to the upside, right? So another important thing that I want to show you guys, it is this previous configuration that I had. As you can see, it's much more clean, and you can compare them, those two very wide areas, right? So this is exactly what I was looking at, and that's what I was aiming for, a possible V-shaped recovery, especially when we start looking at the Wyckoff structure, right? Let me see if I have, oh, come on. Oh, it's gone. All right, so we had another one here. Let me just copy it and paste it on my charts in here. There we go. And this is what I want to compare, guys. Usually on Wyckoff, there is a way to predict where we're going to be breaking out, but this is a little bit too nerdy and a little bit too complex. What I would like to do is just do it as we usually do it with any other kind of pattern, just waiting for the breakout and the signals for whatever is going to be happening, right? At this point, we could be either at a spring, and let me make this one big. There we go. We could be either at a spring, and this is because we have the ranging here, the PS area, the V-shaped recovery, which actually was very violent, and that started giving us the upper range and lower range, right? We already have the upper range in here, we already have the lower range, and we have oscillated between them both. The only thing that is happening here, it is the spring needs to or tends to be lower than the V-shaped recovery. In this case, the spring here, it is higher than the V-shaped recovery, and that is because this V-shaped recovery, it's one of a kind, right? So if we don't have a perfect pattern, that's fine. Remember that the market is perfectly imperfect, and we need to allocate or plan based on new data, right? So another thing that I'm watching here is basically a possible spring playing out, and that will be defined by getting back into the range. What range am I talking about? Remember how we define lower range and higher range in here? So as long as we are above this range and we confirm it bouncing from it, like we can see right here, I'm going to be saying that we are still within the range, and the most possible scenario will be hitting. Yep.
What is that lower level that we should historically, for it to be in that structure of the Wyckoff distribution, to be lower than? What is that level?
Lower.
Yep, down there. You were just there. Yeah. Where's that spring level at? Go down.
I got it. It is at 53,631.
Right, but you said we need to be lower than the previous one according to structure. What would that price level be?
Oh man. I mean, I don't think
right
that's gonna be the case, but yeah, it will be somewhere. Let me just bring it up here. It needs to be around 47 to 45.
That's where I've been calling us heading to this whole time.
You have absolutely, yep. You're right.
Yep, that would actually fit. So yeah, I just wanted to get that, because I was like, that looks like my level actually. So
it does. It actually does. Yes. But the only thing that I will be kind of like maybe pushing back on getting on those ones, it is that the V-shaped recovery was very, very violent, and usually very far from the next lower range, right? So at this point, I think it's a little bit uncongruent. So that's why I'm not expecting a lower push downwards. But I mean, if we are very strict, absolutely, those are going to be the key areas of support, the ones that you mentioned. Let me just wrap it up right now very quickly with the worst case scenario, right? This is the best case scenario. This is my worst case scenario, which is rejecting, basically being here, rejecting out of the range, making a little flag, right? And then guess what? Now going to hunt these lower areas that they are below the previous wicking action. So in that case, and that's what I was about to mention, if we make a little flagging here, right, like that, we could be breaking down, retesting, and now I will be saying going to those levels, which, as Piper mentioned, this could still be the spring of these big areas. Remember, we don't know for sure. We are just doing educated guesses here, right? I want to throw it back to you,
That's right.
Piper. Oh, perfect. And up next, I also have a news about USDC. So when you have a chance, let me know.
Yep, absolutely. Let me finish up what I'm seeing here on Bitcoin, guys. So I want to jump over to my chart.
You are muted.
I'll give you
Hey,
guys a
are.
little more chart here. There we go. That's right. It's the catchphrase here on the show. Hey, you're muted. It's like an 80s sitcom. I'm just saying. Let's jump over here. Let's take a look at what I'm seeing here. Guys, going back to the first cycle here, you can see the cycle bottom there. All the way through about 378 days to the before the halving is when we hit that. Okay, if we come forward here and take a look, that is right in the window. I just moved it over. It's all I did. It's right in the window there of hitting the top of the cycle. Let's go to the next cycle and take a look. We hit our bottom back in here. Let me see. Is that right? Is that right? Yeah. No, we hit our bottom. Why did you move like that? Yeah, no, that was it. That was it. That was that big wick. Okay, so we had that one. That was about 546 days prior to the halving. If we move it over and put it online with what we're seeing here, it was right in the window of the all-time high again. Okay, go to the third cycle. Let's take a look at that. See where that bottom was at. That bottom happened here December of 2018. You go into that halving. It's about 518 days until the halving. Go over to that halving, take a look, guys. It almost was again within a few weeks of the all-time high. Well, what does it look like right now? If you guys remember, this is where I called a long time ago on the 2025 Bitcoin prediction top, was somewhere in between the window of 8 September to 20 October. That was 518 days from the bottom to the halving event. If we move this over and take a look, it puts us topping out the top, coming in line right in the center of these. It actually falls right there effectively on 22 September, but it's in between that range and would be within a few weeks. So there is there is the set time frame, 518 days from the halving, that is played out each time. From the bottom to the halving is a mirror of the halving to the all-time high, somewhere in the ballpark of. Might be a few weeks off each time. This one went a little past, this one was a little before. But that would be right in the window of where I'm expecting to see that all-time high. Now, as far as what OC was talking about, and I want to pull this up here, let's for those levels, I just want to show you guys why I think that 48, 49 is a good area for me to get into, back into fully into Bitcoin at least, is because of this. So I do think that we are going to see some more downside. We've historically, without fail, for over a century, every time we've uninverted on the 2 and 10-year treasury, we've had a recession at some point following. I do think that we will see it come in here down to the 786. And that is why I have this 48,223 marked here on my chart, because I think that we do pull down to test. Oh, wow, that thing jumped to the side. To test this the 786, which is this long running channel, has held us super strong here every time that we ran into it. I do think that we will get that to come down to that level, and that will be somewhere in that $49,000 range. Now, could it get a crazy wick on some bad news and hit that spring area that OC was talking about? Absolutely. I will have some other buy orders set down there, but pretty much at 48K, I officially sold most of my stuff when Bitcoin was at 57.4, I believe, in that range, 57.3. That would be a substantial amount of pickup of more Bitcoin for free. So getting it at those lower levels at 48, 49. But if we do hit that a little bit lower, then I will deploy the rest of it there. So that's what I'm seeing. I just wanted to show you guys that effectively we are looking still, as long as we get that 25 basis point, 25 basis point, 25 basis point coming in, will be a soft landing. And then it's a matter of kicking that recession down the road. I do think we will see what has been flawlessly occurring without fail, a recession following the uninversion, but it is not an immediate effect. So shout out to Crypto Billy in the chat and the Biomex. Glad to have you guys here. Ada Ace in here. I just talked about Ada in the intro there. Going through the coins, up 3% for the week in comparison to everything else that's down. So I do want to jump over here and show you guys the Pi cycle indicator real fast, because this is important too. Pi cycle top and bottom indicator. I did tell you guys last week that my one piece of hopium was that we did not have a cross on the Pi cycle. That always occurs right near the top. The bottom one down here actually prints the bottoms. And so I'm watching this also pretty closely here. Of course, this one here pre-fired a little bit because that was because of FTX selling off right there at the end, collapsing. And then that, don't fear, otters in here. Robert Jones in the house. We got the otter gang in here. So that did cause a little bit of a sell off there and on the bottom indicator of the Pi cycle bottom indicator, but I am seeing that we are heading down. I don't see us anywhere near getting near this cycle yet. So as of right now, the only thing that I have to be concerned of when I look at this is the fact that we are below the signal line. And historically, that has not played out well for Bitcoin. Let's go back in and take a look at that Pi cycle bottom top here. Every time that we've gone beneath it, it has led to downside moves. So that is something to keep in mind. So there we go. So we are beneath that right now. Keep that in mind. Every time we've gone beneath, it did lead to pretty big moves to the downside. We've got to get back above that signal line. Let me pull it back in here. We do have to get above that signal line right there in order for the bullish continuation to take place. So let's jump back over here, OC. There's the Pi cycle top bottom indicator. We just showed, look, here's your pre-halving from the bottom to pre-halving usually mirrors. It's a flip from the halving to the top. And it's still in line, but right now it does look like we have all these other things that need to take place in order to continue this market rally on. So we got about 15 minutes. Let's jump into your one article real fast. I want to show that. And then we will go and take a look at some altcoins. So let's kick it over to you. Let's look at that article you have. And then looks like we got Solana in here.
Absolutely. So the first thing that I want to show you guys is that something for my eyes start getting shaken, right? Something important started happening here. So Swiss branch of BBVA Bank brings USDC for institutional clients. So basically it's telling you that BBVA institutional provided banking clients in Switzerland. Now they can exchange it for their USDC into euros, US dollar, and other currencies. I mean, this is the whole thing. I mean, for me, this has major implications. And let me bring up a couple of charts in here. First of all, this is USDC dominance. And guys, I know it's a little bit more choppier than USDT. Why? Because it's less popular among retail. But I think USDC is one of the most secure when we're talking about holding your money in a stable coin, right? By the way, this is not financial advice. You hold it where you better believe it is worth, which, by the way, it's in its own currency, USD, right? So if you have the ability to trade USD without using USDT, USDC, well, I think that's a better option, right? But let me compare it also with what's happening with USDT, right? We have been talking about a possible reversal in USDT dominance and maybe a movement to the upside into the altcoins. Right now, we are exactly almost right on schedule, but also based on this, we could be seeing the institutional money just buying or getting USDC, and maybe this could be leading now the upcoming market. So we could be seeing a total cap of altcoins going up like crazy, but not altcoins going up. That might be because in the future, we could be seeing institutional money starting allocating its money right here. And yes, Alexandra, you are correct. This is a one topic that I need to wear my tinfoil hat. We could be seeing this right, but not seeing the actual crypto actually responding to it until we have that breakout moment or that breakout area where we start breaking or bouncing off, which I don't think is going to be this place, but bouncing off some key support and then falling down well, big money is coming into the altcoin. So that's what I had. Piper, let me know what you think on USDC being accepted now as institutional money exchange. I think that is very, very exciting.
Yeah, I figured that was going to be the case. That would happen anyways, because they get so much pushback on CBDC, and so it's cheaper for them to use blockchain to send money. We know this. Like someone was talking earlier about Western Union. Western Union, I think their days are numbered. If I was doing calls and puts in the stock world, I would definitely be shorting the hell out of Western Union because I think their days are numbered with blockchain technology. So another reason why Bitcoin is so important. And Tron, that another cheap one out there to send money on. USDC obviously going to be that one because it's a lot of people don't. Okay, I don't know, understand the this value versus this USDC. It's a US dollar, right? So yeah, I think it's only a matter of time that we see that, bro. Let's go and let's check out Solana. Do you got the chart up, or do you want me to do it?
No, I can bring it up. I don't have it, but I can bring it up.
All right, let's let you do that.
Okay.
And then I'm going to come over. I'm going to knock out ADA and Caspa. I want to look at those. And then I've got a little video for you guys to watch to explain taxes to you guys. It's not a promotion for Ernest, I promise. It's a TikTok video on who actually pays what taxes. So let's jump over to OC's chart. Check out Solana.
Absolutely. I was talking with Alex on crypto about Solana in lower time frames, like in 15 minutes. This is one of the examples of Wyckoff playing out on lower time frames. A little tricky when you are looking at something on the higher time frame, like 4 hours, and you see a very well developed area here. It is important, or it could be a well thought process to go maybe into a lower time frames and start analyzing what it could be happening. Right here we can see the range playing out, the V-shaped recovery generating the top range, the lower range, right? And then we were expecting the spring in here. So let me just adjust this very quick. My spring was being guessed to hit all the way down here, and that is because right there was not longer there. We had a huge order block playing out along with some smart money areas in here. Let me go back to the 4 hour and see how that played out, and also let's take a look at what we got on the 4 hour. On the 4 hour, we not only had a smart money area, we also have a big area of support. This dash line shows you the most important either support or resistance that is on the chart. And guess what? We were going to nail it, or we nailed it exactly here. Let me just get rid of this, right? So what is the next thing? Well, breaking back into the range, reconfirming the range, bouncing up. And now what's happening? Well, the most possible scenario is that we go and hit the top of the range, right? Things can go south. We need to understand that we have the measure or the most possible outcome to be something, in this case going at the top of the range, doesn't mean that we're 100% going to be doing it, right? Especially not on its movement at this point, right? Jumping in, no, I already did enter into a spot position. This is not a leverage position. This is to average down on previous entries that I did somewhere around these areas where I was expecting a breakout, retest, and then the off we go was cut short. And then I'm just coming back to those so to average down my stock position right here below. Is it a good area of buying? Well, then you can see that we had a couple of bullish divergences. We have two peak seekers, and then we're breaking out. So if I needed to take the risk, that was a place what I was going to. So what's up next for Solana? Solana, we are within an area of nothing in here. So that's why I'm also expecting to go all the way up here. And at that point, I will reassess my strategy and take a look at where is my ribbon at, right? If my ribbon is flipping down, well, then I will be waiting for a breakout to the next resistance. Here we go. It's very well marked also with this fair value gap, right? And then coming back down to retest, and that's going to be my entry for a continuation to the upside. If not, if I'm basically just breaking down the zero line here, I will be aiming for a position myself for a short position, and then aiming back at this area somewhere around 121 to take profits one, and then 112 to take profits two. At this point, guys, remember we are bearish. That is that for our trend. And if we go to daily, Let's just wait for that dynamic reactor. We are also bearish, right? So we should be favoring shorts over longs at this point, but under my eyes and looking at the big picture, the range, we are or we were at entry points down there, all right? So that going back and not losing this area, not losing the 121 area, could be a good DC8 entry for you guys if you're looking for a long run on Solana long term. So that's what I got on Solana, Piper.
Awesome. Let's jump over here. Let's take a look at the what I'm seeing on Cardano. Like I said, up 3% on the weekly in comparison to down 8% on Ethereum and down like 4 point something on Bitcoin. So doing quite well. You can see here this right there on this line on that 887. That is my platinum pocket. But if I turn that off, let's turn off those fibs for a second, you'll see that that's also the value area low from this whole period going all the way back to July, mid-July there. Let's turn back on those fibs. Nope, that is my local fibs. Can I turn? Yep, there we go. We got a double bottom here, bounce off of that 887 confluence on top of that value area low. We have gone back up to the point of control here, and you guys can see we did get a little play here on the dynamic reactor and the quantum reactor, getting back above the quantum reactor, still fighting with the dynamic reactor. Both of these indicators, phenomenal algorithmic moving averages from Chart Prime, but right now we are getting a rejection down. So I think if we do get up a little bit higher, guys, it might be a little pullback that we get here. But I want to point out that the 786 is coming in right here at about 36 cents. Can you trade this? Absolutely. If you're looking for some other entries, though, you might get a little pullback to get you another entry for a long. We do have this long running trend line here going all the way back to, again, July 17th. That has been, the start off point there. We hit it here. We hit it here. That's coming in almost in confluence here with that 786, depending on how much longer we wait. By this next weekend, we should be back in the range of both of those. So that is what I'm watching there. And then I did not mean to hit that button. Let's go back there. Thank you. Get rid of the Mexican spaghetti. And let's talk about the oscillators on Cardano for a second, because I want to show you what I'm looking at here. I'm looking at a 4-hour chart, and what I'm seeing is the peak seeker has fired off on the Oscillator Pro. We are now getting a bearish divergence right there. That's that little red line right there. And now we have flipped the bearish ribbon here. It's gone red. It does look like money flow is starting to come back down. So I would expect for this to pull back before it does a continuation up to that area. Where we're at down there, maybe the point of control, about 0.335 cents, 33.5 cents, but we could return all the way back down here to the 887. So be careful with that. This indicating that we are looking at downside. Plus, RSI Prime is printing a red Heikin-Ashi candle, which typically from this high level does lead to at least small pullbacks. You can see it here. That was a small pullback. That's almost in line with what we're seeing here. So keep an eye on that for Cardano. Let's kick it back over to OC. I do believe you've got Doge pulled up, and then we will wrap it up if we see where we're at with time. So
Absolutely. So I was looking at USDT dominance because I was looking at possible surge or a way to change, get cheaper USDC over USDT. But let's take a look at Dodge or Doggy Coin here. I think it's Dodge, right? So at this point, well, it's not looking that good. It's not looking bad. I will be saying that it's at the same place at Bitcoin is, right? We have the range, we have the V-shaped recovery, we have the next pause, we have the upper range, we have the lower range, and then we're just cycling through it. Is this a spring? Absolutely not. I don't think that this is a spring. Remember, the spring needs to be also a V-shaped recovery out of it and breaking back into the range. But let's start using our indicators and see where we are now, right? At this point, we are below every single oscillator that every single reactor that we have, basically being very, very bearish. So we need to be careful on where we're looking and aiming to, right? At this point, I'll be first looking at this area for a possible re-entry for a short or a breakout, depending on my oscillator right down here. We'll see that in a minute. At this point, we also have dump. We have had dump all the way till the August 1st. So we could be going for a possible change of structure if we can make it above our quantum oscillator, our quantum reactor, right? At this point, let's take a look at the same areas that we're looking at. We have a fair value gap, again, acting as a resistance. And also, we are looking at a big support area. So here's where I'm going to be mentioning my possible planning here. I will be looking for a possible re-entry right down here. These areas, as long as I am above of the zero line on my oscillator. If you can't see the zero line, you can see it much better in here. You can translate it to here and place your zero line, or just use your traditional oscillator. Or I'm going to be looking also for a breakout retest. And what's going to be the breakout retest that I'm looking at here? It's going to be a breakout all the way up here to 0.10 retest right here, 0.10 exactly. I mean, it's too many zeros. And then a continuation to the upside. That will be any of my two best case scenarios. What's going to be my worst case scenario? Going back down and breaking or losing this area. If I lose this area, I'm going to be aiming for a possible next entry somewhere around here, which if I do a straight line, you'll see, let me see if I can, turn it on. We have a trend line being plotted in here that matches exactly the price action that I'll be looking back for a possible reentry on the long-term scenario. Dogecoin, because of how involved Elon is, I think it is one of my top meme coins, and I need to make sure that I mentioned it. It is a meme coin at this point still, and its efforts to get out of the meme coin area has not yet been successful. So at this point, those are going to be my plans for a possible reentry. I'm going for the long run, very low capital injection here on my side. Turning it back to you, Piper.
Yeah, I think that's a smart move there. It's a good opportunity, man, for some of that money making, getting those lower levels on Doge. Let's check it out here on Caspa, guys. We have continued to pull back rejection multiple times off of these the quantum reactor and the dynamic reactor here of Chart Prime's indicators. One thing that I am watching here, we did get the peak seeker, and we got the oversold VWAP indication. Sir, can you go back? Thanks. On the Oscillator Pro, okay? But we are running up hot again on the 4-hour RSI primed here. You can see when we hit these before, does typically tend to lead to downside movement there. We got that. Over here, we had another pullback. Guys, I'm watching for us to get up and hit around this phase 8 golden pocket here, right in line with our dynamic reactor and quantum reactor again. I'm going to be watching this closely because I'm thinking that somewhere around 16 cents might be an opportunity to short if you're looking to short it. So far, that it's played out pretty clean. Caspa does like to follow the rules when it comes to the oscillators and what they're saying on the chart. So I am watching that for Caspa. Get up here to that level there. That's probably where abandon your ship. And then as it goes down, hit that entry, collect your money, and then, that's how we do that. Let's jump over here and let's check out this video that I got for you guys as we go on the way out here, because we got the election debates tomorrow, guys. The candidate debates tomorrow between Trump and Kamala Harris, maybe the only one we get this whole cycle, which is sad. But you're going to hear a lot of talk about taxes, taxing the corporation, taxing the rich, right? That's going to be the idea behind it. And they're going to act like these guys are not paying any money when, you got all the, we're getting taxed to death at the lower rate. Here is the reality of it, guys. I want you guys to hear this. So this is the reality of who pays what in taxes.
Top 1% of earners are those making over $682,577 a year and above. The total income taxes that they pay in the United States is 45.8% of the total share. They pay nearly half of all federal income taxes, despite representing only 26.3% of total adjusted gross income in the United States. And then there's the top 10% of earners who make over $169,800 a year, and they pay a total of 75.
I want to point out that this 75.8 is the other percentage added to their percentage. So far between those two earning groups, they pay 75.8% of the taxes in America. Of what the IRS brings in.
8% of total income taxes in the United States. This just further illustrates the more progressive nature of our tax system. And then the top 25% of earners in the United States are over $94,440 a year, pay almost 90% of all income taxes
Again,
paid in this
total,
country. And the
with
top
the other
50%
groups.
of earners pay 97.7% of all income taxes. So when it comes to our progressive tax system, the bottom 50% of earners in this country actually only pay 2.3% of all federal income taxes.
And yeah, that's mind blowing when that's broken down like that, where you can see, who pays what in taxes. Over 50% of the country only paying 2.3% of all tax money that comes in. So just keep all those numbers in mind. Keep that percentage in mind when it comes down to the tax conversation taking place tomorrow night on the debates. Of course, you should go back and watch the debates, because Crypto Billy is going to be live with Billy Goat Tales, and we'll be talking over there at the same time as the debate. So I'm going to be like split. I got to listen to the lies, and then I got to go over here and tell the truth. So tomorrow night, though, guys, that's going to be the thing. But make sure that you guys tune in and watch Billy Goat. Listen to Billy Goat Tales X Space tomorrow with Amy Lives Crypto, and then right after that, Crux and I are going to be coming in, dropping some mindset on where we are economically. I believe in the space of when we look at crypto space, when it comes to the economic effect and impact that happens from it, I probably have a decent grasp on it. Just a decent one. So we're going to be breaking all that down tomorrow night on Billy Goat Tales. OC, it is the bottom of the hour. We got to go raid. We got to go raid Randy Hipper's frat house, because frat mom said, come over. She's got the tendies ready for us. We're going to go get our chicken tenders, because that's what we do in this game, right? So, OC, you got anything for the people on the way out, man? I'm going to go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button right there, so you can just tell them about what they need to do there.
Absolutely, guys. First of all, thank you so much for joining. Next up, a quick reminder to click that like button, because if you do, well, then we're gonna have a great announcement this year, and then we're gonna have no soft landing, no what is it? Recession.
Well, we want a soft
and
landing.
everybody's gonna be rich.
We want no hard landing. No hard landing. We want a soft landing.
All right. Maybe a backwards inverted landing with that.
We were inverted. Awesome. I appreciate you joining me here today, OC. Alumni, I appreciate all of you. Thank you guys for joining us here today on Piper Academy for the Morning Market Report. If you guys haven't done it yet, go check out the video that came out this morning before mine. It is Good Morning Crypto with Lunar Beaches Crypto, BC Port Corp. We've got that content. And then this evening, guys, join FD White and Tradefly for the Crypto Nightcap. We're bringing you guys all kinds of content right here on Piper Academy. We appreciate all of you guys that join us here. We will catch you right back here tomorrow morning for the Morning Market Report and a little bit of data from oil. We'll see how it plays out. Until then, guys, trade safe. And as always, use a stop loss.
I don't know what they keep telling me. I don't know what they keep telling me. Ain't no school like Piper Academy. Ain't no school like Piper Academy. We'll keep that front line covered, even when we're dead and gone. We'll find a way to keep going, cause we gon' keep on rolling after wheels fall off. I know you hungry for knowledge, that's profit appetite. Classes in session, this for the Army Piper acolytes. Trade flag at the soul train ready. What a line from OCI, from a Mexican spaghetti. Yo, crunch crypto with a deep dive to reject dime. And if you like the visual powered by Tar Prime, then you were part of that alumni that's all spine. But if you have step, fall back to offline. We'll keep that front line covered, even when we're dead and gone. We'll find a way to keep going, cause we gon' keep on rolling after wheels fall off. Sound off.
To get with them, the ZTS rhythm. Rip it, Alexandra.
Yeah, that's my alumni, you know what I mean?
That was awesome, dude!